Chapter 4 Death. I turned around and forced my hands to Serenity's wall. I moved my hands apart and tore the wall in two as if it were a pair of curtains. With my head held down, I levitated into the air and floated down the street. That seemed quite emotional for someone who doesn't have a soul anymore. I didn't feel anything, but I did have an appreciation for the memories of the past. So what are you going to do now? Not exactly sure. I lifted my hand up and a car next to me exploded and landed upside down. Well, that was fun, I suppose. I'll go into town in a destructive rampage / killing spree just for kicks and giggles. I like the way you think, Damitri. Okay, Mach speed. I flew to the middle of town and stormed out at the busy traffic. With a wave of my hand, a large wall of stone sprang out from the ground, causing dozens of cars to crash. I flew down and pushed the wall back into the ground, causing a shock wave in the road that tossed all of the cars in sight to fly into the distance. 2 machine guns appeared in my hand, and I began to shoot screaming people. I lifted myself and spun into a cyclone of bullets and laughed maniacally. I spied Final Boss Gaming and dropped my weapons. $20 for a cat's eye guide, my ass. I formed a giant ball of fire in my hand and tossed it at the store, causing it to explode. I turned my attention to Paper Cut Comics. How dare you refuse to hire me? Water from the sewers burst out of a manhole and flooded the store. And now for anybody I may have missed. I clapped my hands together and a small tornado raged throughout destroyed the streets. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a cemetery in the distance. That gives me a great idea. I flew over to it and held my hands above my head. A green mist appeared and expanded over the cemetery. From the ground, the corpses of the dead dragged their way up from the ground and began to move towards the city. I thought I told you not to bring the dead to life. Relax, Morningstar. They aren't alive, they're undead. They don't have souls, so I think that I just found a loophole in your little rule. I knew you were a good choice. And now, Anubis, I shall build my domicile. I lifted both arms above my head, right behind the cemetery. From the ground, a castle slowly appeared. It was black as night, with sharp spires at the top. Below there were stained glass windows of the Dark One symbol. The castle grew taller and taller out of the ground. Spikes protruded from the sides of it. The castle broke the cloud line and could not be seen from the ground. The castle stopped with a door in front of Damitri. It was approximately 8 feet tall, of dark gray metal encrusted with onyx gems. Behold, Black Spire Castle, I said, presenting my new creation, and walked towards the door, entering it. The inside was large enough to fit a football stadium and 4 tennis courts. Roaming around were large, wart-faced, green-skinned, 8-foot humanoid creatures wielding battle axes. Among them there were animated skeletons covered in gray armor and holding spears. I thought I said no creating new life. The skeletal warriors are undead like the zombies, but the orcs are alive. Also on higher levels I have sphinxes, griffins, succubi, imps, cyclopses, and ogres. Around 500 new souls, but I'm sure the zombies will have killed twice that in a few days. I put my hand on the wall and the secret passage opened up, revealing a large empty elevator shaft that I levitated up. You see, zombies crave blood and flesh, so they will stop at nothing to satisfy their craving. The gas I let loose in the cemetery stays around the zombies, and when they kill someone or walk near a dead body, they'll become a zombie too. So they keep multiplying as long as there are people or animals to kill and convert. Then they will continue to hunt. Zombies are the perfect apocalypse scenario. I approached the top and entered through another secret passage into an equally large room as the first. Around the walls there were symbols of the Dark One made of black metal. In the back of the room was a large pyramid with a flight of stairs in the middle that led to a black throne at the top. I leapt up to the throne and looked out at the room. It's been quite a day. Why aren't I tired?
You have unlimited power fueling you. There is no need to refresh your energies. That's not to say you can't sleep or eat just for the sake of pleasure.
Good. I snapped my fingers and two beautiful women wearing white robes holding green dishes filled with grapes. I held out my hand and they teleported to my side in an aura of black shadows. I know it's cliche, but I've always wanted to do this, I said as they began to feed me.
You're the fourth person to abuse my power in such a manner. Will this foolish dream of man never end?
That's actually pretty funny, I guess. I guess great minds think alike.
You should be out getting me souls, Dimitri.
The undead are killing plenty, and I expect the military to come knocking my front door any second. Even if they manage to kill all of the guards, they still have to solve the puzzle. They will still have to solve the puzzle to make the staircase appear. Then they'll have to go through 49 more levels, each twice as difficult as the last. Then if someone manages to make it here, I'll kill them personally.
That's brilliant in a weird way. How'd you come up with it?
Cat's Eye 1, Dungeon of Trials. Man, that was 5 hours of pure hell. But you learn Reaper's Kiss from it. Some say it makes the game too easy. But I say, if you finish the Dungeon of Trials, then you've earned it.
I try to find someone intelligent and dark enough to handle my power properly, and the one I find is a giant nerd.
Well, excuse me.
Dimitri.
I heard my name from across the room and recognized the voice as Adam's. Well, you're the last person I expected to see, I said, getting up and beginning to walk down the pyramid, and it began to move towards the pyramid. He was wearing a white jumpsuit with a green cape and a large green A on his chest. When I noticed this, I let out a disappointed exhale. Adam, what the hell are you doing here? He stopped and posed with both arms pointed to his left side.
I am the bringer of justice, thwarter of chaos.
He moved his arms to the lower right.
Resurrected and powered by the one and only divine creator.
He moved his hand forward and made a fist.
I am here to avenge the deaths of Serenity, myself, and all the innocents you have killed, Dimitri DarkHart. I am the world's greatest superhero. Adamant!
I continued down the stairs. You are such an idiot. A bladed disc appeared in my hand and I tossed it at him. He jumped over and flew at me with both fists outstretched. I caught his hands in mine and tossed him into the air by spinning around to gather momentum. He stopped in midair and a large ball of light formed in his hand. He tossed it at me and I blocked it by putting my arms in front of myself. He has my brother's power. He's just as powerful as you, so don't get cocky. And don't you dare lose. If we kill Adam, I will finally get my golden opportunity to kill my brother. So Adam dies. Everybody wins. I smirked and charged at Adam. I reached him and drove my knee into his stomach. Then, with a quick blow from my elbow, I sent him soaring into the ground. He got up and pointed at me. Lightning strike! A bolt of lightning shot from his index finger. Reflector! I held my hand out in front of me and a rectangular energy shield appeared in front of me and made the lightning bounce back at Adam. He jumped out of the way and charged at me again. I swooped behind him and shot a ball of fire into his back as I shouted, Flame Sphere! The fireball pushed him and slammed him hard against the ceiling. Hurts, doesn't it? Those walls are indestructible. No matter how hard I smash you against them, they'll never break.
Never say never, Dimitri.
Adam forced his hands to the ceiling and tore a large chunk out of it and tossed it at me. I failed to evade it and it was pinned to the ground.
His powers can contradict yours. Don't underestimate what he can do.
Don't worry, Hades. I'm not planning on making the same mistake twice. I kicked the debris off myself and stood up holding my head. It's time for round 2. Batter up. Adam tore a square pillar off the wall and charged at me. I dodged at the first swing, but the second pinned me to the wall. I glared at Adam and grabbed a pillar with both arms. To shake him off, I swung it around until he let go and went flying into the pyramid. I held it up and 3 The metal symbols on the wall flew off and attached themselves to the end, turning the broken pillar into a giant axe. Adam got up and moved forward. He formed a spiked club in his hand and moved closer. I swung my new weapon at him until he jumped on top of it and ran straight for me. Adam swung his club, but I ducked in time and was able to toss him into the air and land a direct blow with the blade of the axe, pinning him to the ground. The points of the symbol stabbed into him as the blood stained his jumpsuit. He let out a blood-curdling scream as he put his hands on the metal symbols. With one large shout, both his weapon and mine exploded, knocking me into the air. When the smoke cleared, I saw Adam lying on the ground in a pool of blood. I seized my opportunity by zooming down and stepping on his neck. "You can't win, Adam." "You're wrong. I can win as long as I have the power of love on my side." "Love? Don't amuse yourself with such childish fantasies. Love only makes you all the weaker. Trust me, I've bathed in the vile emotion for the better part of my life, and it only destroyed me. And it was destroyed my being when I was finally torn from my soul. The only way love can make you stronger is if you're fighting to protect the one you love. But Serenity's already dead." "Shut up!" he shouted, breathing heavily. "Save your breath. You can save the last few seconds of life. And please, try to make your last words dignified. Don't go groveling and begging for your life," he said, putting a little more pressure on his neck. "I won't let you beat me," he shouted. Ironic, but amusing. "Oh, and if you see Serenity, tell her she's a cunt." I put more pressure on his neck, attempting to break it, but he resisted. "I refuse to die." A wave of energy shot through his body and knocked me into the air. Adam stood up quickly and began tossing blasts of energy at me in rapid succession. I flew around the room with a trail of explosions behind me. As an idea sprang into my head, I held a small red energy ball in front of myself. Each time an attack hit the ball, it grew bigger and bigger until it scraped the top of the ceiling. Adam ceased fire and began panting. I hurled the ball at him, shouting, "Die!" He caught the large red ball of energy as the floor under him began to crack. I moved forward and pushed the ball down at him, forcing the floor to break in. I shot a beam of energy at the ball, making it bigger and crushing Adam through the floors of the castle, gaining speed with every passing second. He reached the ground and the energy ball burned an immense crater into the ground. "Looks like I've proven whose god is stronger," I said, levitating down to the ball of energy. It moved back a little. "You haven't proven anything." Adam lifted the ball, grunting heavily. "No, I will not let you win," I shouted, shooting another beam of energy at the ball, making it grow immensely larger. "Don't you know, good is always stronger than evil." "Evil is a matter of opinion, and what you don't understand is I actually have the upper hand. If this attack were to strike the planet, it would kill everything, giving more power to me than you can comprehend. Much less defeat. Now die, Adamant!" I increased the power, and my beam grew twice as wide. Adam fell to one knee but shouted and pushed the ball towards me. I turned from red to light blue and moved towards me. I put everything I had into trying to push it back, but it was too powerful. The ball touched, and I was absorbed into it. My skin tingled all over, and everything faded away into a large flash of white light. The ending of DarkHart branches into 3 endings. It's now your turn to play God and decide Dimitri's fate. If you think Dimitri should get his just desserts for the evil he has done, then choose the dark ending. If you want to give him a second chance and happy ending, then choose a light ending. If you are indecisive and you may want to read the human ending, the most powerful thing we can do in life is decide, and these decisions can lead to different and sometimes opposite outcomes. Our past decisions are set in stone, and our future decisions are not yet revealed. The present decisions are what matter, and can decide how the future plays out. Dimitri has lost his ability to decide his fate. So I will give the power to you. Shall you allow Damitri to be given over to the vengeful Dark One to suffer his wrath? Shall you let Damitri be looked after by the forgiving Light One, and see if he has the ability to make things right? Or shall you give Damitri back his ability to make choices, and thus craft his own ending? I've given you the tools to decide Dimitri's fate, and I hope you choose the ending that will give you the highest amount of satisfaction.